Welcome back to Should You Watch This with the Popcorn Priest, a weekly podcast for movie enthusiasts, ex-movie theater projectionists, new and old friends. Take the time to talk about a movie that we just watched and answer that very question, should or shouldn't you watch this? Welcome back. We're talking about Midnight Run, 1988.
Everyone's talking about Midnight Run. This better be good. A non-stop, belly full of laughs, says Jeffrey Lyons.
Belly full of laughs.
Do you like that?
And Grodin are terrific.
It's hilarious, like how movies are described back in the day compared to now.
There is an interesting way in which comedy ages, for sure.
Says it will have you laughing while
Gene
your
Shalit.
heart jumps.
The movie master.
I'm enjoying it.
Midnight Run, rated R. Starts Wednesday at theaters everywhere.
It's kind of crazy how they build that with that. That was a TV spot. So, well, if you haven't listened to part one, please go do that now, and you'll get all the juicy details of the film. But we're going to jump into
This review.
popcorn trivia.
Let me tell you something, pendejo.
All right, the idea to have Jack Walsh continually checking his watch and the whole backstory related to his habit was all De Niro's idea.
Really? It's a collaborative process.
I really liked that. I liked that whole...
Maybe he
storyline.
was doing method acting with this.
For sure. You had mentioned that last week, but it's for sure he was method still.
Yeah, he had not yet descended into kind of the later cash grab. I'll just do whatever. Good for him, though.
Zac Efron? Who's that? Of
Like,
course
why
I'll
even
use
be
Grandma.
mad?
Yeah. I only have a couple more trivia points because there's not a lot that I could find about this movie. But one thing that I thought was interesting is Charles Grodin had permanent scars resulting from the real handcuffs he had to wear for a great deal of the film. Even though they had rubber and plastic handcuffs that could be used in wider shots, De Niro, ever the method actor,
Yes.
aforementioned, encouraged Grodin to wear the steel ones in most scenes. Can you imagine him just like, Grodin, you got to wear the real ones?
Well, you think, I mean, if
Cutting
anything, you
into
think
his-
you'd leave him a little loose so they weren't cutting into his skin.
No,
like scars.
that would have detracted from the drama and the realness.
An outstanding Chicago police officer wouldn't cuff you so bad
Exactly.
bleeding on your wrists.
Can you imagine, like, every time you look down at your wrists, you remember your role in Midnight Run?
Well, I mean, it's a little less severe than like Johnny Depp, though, who probably tattoos himself every time he does a show. And
Do you think he does that?
Well, he left a lot of them from Pirates of the Caribbean that are real.
Oh, those are real. Oh, wow. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah, he's covered in them.
So I have one more trivia point. Actor Yaphet Kotto, Agent Alonzo Mosley, commented in a 2015 interview, Midnight Run was practically the most difficult movie I ever made. Marty Brest, which I love his last name, doesn't do one take. He shoots a lot of footage, one take after another, all kinds of different ways, experimenting to see if something extraordinary happens. Then even if it does, he'll try something else. I didn't know whether it was a comedy or a drama. It could go either way.
Learned how to be an annoying director to actors from Stanley Kubrick or something.
What I was surprised about is what I thought was going to be funny was funny, and what I thought was going to be dramatic was even funnier. I mean, the tone is
It jumps around.
it jumps
a
a
lot.
little bit.
He tries to make all his intros dramatic.
Yeah, like
but then
that
they wind up
TV
being
spot
jokes.
saying it's like a belly full of laughs. is
No.
bizarre. It's
Gene Shalit says so, and he doesn't lie.
like it's not like some slapstick like vacation movie or anything like the
Yeah,
laughs per
it
minute.
kind of makes it
Naked
seem like
guy.
it makes it seem like it's planes, trains, and automobiles, but with guns instead. But it's hardly the case at all.
I mean, yeah, it's essentially like the action comedy of like, I don't know, like Lethal Weapon, but with less action or
and more drama.
yeah.
And there wasn't a lot
Involving
of
the story.
I mean, there's
family
violence,
storyline.
but
Yeah.
not a lot
Yeah,
of
no,
like
like that-
blood or
It's mainly just the F word.
Yeah,
I think
it's just
really
swearing.
the thing.
Just a lot of
as far
swearing,
As
yeah.
as the rating goes, yeah. Because like it opens.
There's a lot
with,
of
like
gunfire,
that,
but everyone's terrible at shooting. Well, no.
Not there's really not that, because I thought there would be more. Because like again, I didn't really know because it opens with like that one like
Well, the shootout in the apartment.
yeah, where he like
Shootout
shoots
at
the
bus
shotgun
station.
through the
that
door.
was great.
And
I
then he
love
chases
that
him.
opening scene.
And so I was like, okay, well, that's what this movie is. But then, like, it really isn't. There's only another, like, one other scene where there's, like, gunfire exchanges, and it's not that violent when it happens.
And that scene towards the end where what's the mob boss's name?
Serrano.
Serrano is in the limo with Grodin.
Oh, and he
yeah.
backhands
He's
him.
like backhands.
That was probably that was like this.
I'm
like,
gonna go kill your wife after I have a hot
that was like
meal.
where the stakes were actually raised to where you like.
Now here's my backhand.
Yeah, that was dark, but the rest of the film I thought would be darker, and it wasn't.
Yeah, like
It's
if you were
really-
gonna make this now, like movies that are like similar to it now, like it reminded me of like Children of Men,
Yeah,
like with like the one person like with another person trying to get to a certain spot, like, but that's like super gritty and like really tense, whereas this never really is.
No.
And it's not really trying to be at all.
no,
It tries to be sweet
like-
and
yeah.
funny and then intense and then
it's
like joking.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
planes, trains, and
slapstick.
automobiles where he doesn't.
and even
feel
at
like
the
he's
end
traveling with.
when he's like, "Come here, I need to show you something." He gives him all those thousands.
here.
Yeah.
I got something I want to share.
Well, that brings us to our next category.
Where's the beef?
Sharing.
Hey, where's the beef?
So this is popcorn beefs. I only have one beef with the film, and this is kind of interesting. Paramount Pictures originally owned the rights to the film. To improve the film's chances at the box office, the studio wanted a big-name star to appear opposite De Niro. It was suggested that the character of John Duke Mardukas be changed to a woman and be played by Cher.
Oh,
I would have ruled. What are you talking about?
Can you imagine that?
Moonstruck 2.
I would have
Monster
rolled.
Boogaloo.
So Martin Brest, love your name, however, rejected the gender switch idea, so Paramount Pictures suggested giving the role to Robin Williams,
No, oh my gosh, they really wanted a buddy comedy. Like,
who had recently had a big hit with Good Morning Vietnam.
what
Williams
tone were they going with this thing?
Listen to this. Williams read and liked the script and agreed to audition.
I could have seen Williams.
Yeah.
Be doing that. That would have been fine.
In the meantime, however, Brest had auditioned the less famous Charles Grodin and had liked Grodin's interaction with De Niro. As such, Brest cast Grodin without auditioning Williams. Paramount Pictures decided to drop out of the project, selling the rights to Universal because of that. But went ahead with De Niro and Grodin casting. That's crazy that they like, we're out. You got to go get other financing.
Well, but it gives you an idea of what tone they were originally trying to go for, at least what the studio was hoping for.
I mean, you hear all this stuff about recasting on older movies and stuff, but or possible casting. Would it have been better with Williams, or do you like it?
I don't
Well,
think it would have been better.
I think it would have been the same because Grodin's character is so like he's just there.
I love how annoying he is.
Yeah, no,
It's so
you
awesome.
know what I'm saying? Is like this would have been better with John Candy
Oh,
to continue my planes, trains, and automobiles.
But it's just
comparison.
you just
John
need to.
Candy is the guy.
It's just a character that's playing a sympathetic shoulder to De Niro, who's supposed to be the focus of the film. I mean, you could have gotten any number of people in there, and it still would have been fine. You could have had Nicolas Cage in there, just play it level-headed. It still would have worked.
Nicolas Cage.
He would have been way
That's
too.
a hot take.
Yeah, he would have been way too young there. He wouldn't have been believable as
Oh,
an accountant.
that's true. That's Peggy Sue era.
All right. Do you guys have any other beefs? Do you have any beefs with the film? And things you hated, didn't like, wanted?
It could have been 10, 15 minutes shorter. They really stretched.
Yeah, I agree.
They didn't really explain much of Grodin's backstory in terms of like where he came from or why he did what he did.
Yeah, they did.
Well, but they rushed through it in like one conversation because then it all got back to De Niro and focused on him and his family. They could have either kind of expanded on Grodin's story or cut out about 10, 15 minutes of it. Just made it like a little more zippy in terms of the storyline.
Would it made it better or worse to have one scene where he's like interacting before, he embezzles the money, like with the mobsters?
They
They
kinda-
decides like, I don't want to do this anymore. Or
It's
is that
because,
too much?
yeah,
Yeah, I think that would have been too much.
well, I don't know. They could have explored a little more before while he's tracking him down, or he could have followed him a little bit more instead of just springing up, in the first 15 minutes, and then the rest of it being them kind of tied to each other for the journey across America.
I thought that they were handcuffed together for more of the movie because, like, that's all I've seen of it, really.
Yeah.
And, like,
Well, that's all that's on the posters.
yeah,
too.
no, and there's like one little bit where he's actually handcuffed to him. So that was very.
I mean, he keeps handcuffing him.
yeah, but
then
he's just handcuffed to like a stall or something.
Yeah.
He's never like I thought they.
like the whole time he was.
Yeah, I was
tethered
understood
to
when
him.
he throws the keys away, like after handcuffing himself to the guy. I thought that was like, oh, this is the rest of the movie.
And
It
there was like
no.
there was like 45 minutes after that.
Yeah, no, and that was not what the format of that movie was. He's just like after that is changed, he just unhandcuffs himself.
Yeah. Well, that kind of brings us to our next
So yeah,
category.
false advertising. That's my complaint. Keep them handcuffed together for more.
Marketing didn't do their job.
That's right. They lied to me.
It's the John Carter of the 80s.
Oh, John Carter, dude. That's insane.
That's not a good movie.
I kind of like John Carter.
I liked it. I don't care what
I think
you
we
say.
talked. I think we've talked about this.
We talk about it all the time. It's one of those hot button movies.
It's pretty
It
good.
should have been better than it was.
Speaking of better than it was, this brings us to our next category: popcorn puzzles.
A sphincter says what? What? A sphincter says what? What? Exactly.
Exactly. So I have a couple of puzzles.
Exactly.
So the boxcar scene where Walsh and Mardukas discuss whether or not they could ever be friends was almost entirely improvised on set. Regarding Grodin's famous line, "You've ever had sex with an animal, Jack?" he was told by the director, Martin Brest, to come up with something that was guaranteed to make even De Niro laugh. I thought that was like pretty crazy. That's weird.
Yeah, that felt like a weird random line.
That was weird. And then De Niro, if it was improvised, is like, "Oh yeah, I'd have a go at one of the chickens." That's so weird. Things that makes a popcorn puzzle. Another one, De Niro was looking for some lighter material to do. Initially, he wanted to play the lead in Penny Marshall's Big from 1988, but the studio wasn't interested in having De Niro play the role. He was then offered the movie, which he liked.
The Tom Hanks Big?
Tom Hanks Big.
That wouldn't have worked.
That would have been wild.
That would have been wild, right?
They should have put Robin Williams in as Tom Hanks instead. Just made him a really old man.
I mean,
like-
that would have been interesting too, but De Niro?
Yeah, that would have been wild.
That would have been crazy. That's why I was like, what? When I read that. I'm just going to rapid fire all these two because this
Shotgun him.
puzzles me
Blast
to no end. And I who knows if any of this is true. I hate all the speculation
Hollywood.
of like
That's who knows.
who was going to be cast or not. But when Paramount Pictures had obtained the script, they lined up Harrison Ford as Jack Walsh and Chevy Chase as the Duke.
That sounds
That
sounds believable.
That would have been awesome. Chevy Chase could have done that perfectly.
Chevy Chase
Oh,
would
that
have
would have been
Chevy Chase
amazing.
would have fit right into this type of movie. Like that was
especially at that.
it reminded me kind of like Fletch in like
Yes,
some of the ways,
exactly.
especially as far as like the
He's
like
laid
all
back,
of
but
the-
he's
yeah.
like in your face.
and all of the like identity theft and lying.
Yeah,
to
that would have been great.
It's a very similar type of movie for
And the
that.
steak sandwiches.
Here's a bunch more names: Al Pacino, Jack Nicholson. They were also
Jack
considered
Nicholson.
for the role of Walsh.
Jack Nicholson, I could see. Well, I could see Jack Nicholson being one of the mobsters. Or
Okay,
being the FBI.
here's some names for the Jimmy Serrano's character: Ron Perlman, Dennis Hopper, Harvey Keitel,
They're all the exact same kind of
Ray Liotta.
Yes.
It's like they're all fitting in like that. There was an era of like these are the guys who play these.
Let's
guys.
find a mobster stereotype.
and
yeah.
Alec Baldwin.
That one doesn't track at all.
Yeah, wasn't he super young then?
Yeah,
That's Hunt for Red October. No, that's even earlier.
That would have been earlier. That was
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah, I was gonna, yeah, never mind.
Like
Way
late
earlier.
20s?
here's
Absurd.
like a billion names, and none of these can be real, but these were also considered for Jack Walsh.
But considered could just mean they had their headshots on a wall.
Yeah, this is probably all fake and false, but Mel Gibson, Kurt Russell, Michael Keaton. I just can't believe how many names I could find. Richard Gere, Burt Reynolds, Clint Eastwood, Charles Bronson.
Because a lot of them just fit in that leading man.
Yeah, it's like
back then.
Just, yeah,
Actor. We need somebody with a
could have made it work. Like,
Gene
Commanding
Hackman, Don Johnson, Tommy Lee Jones, John Travolta, Schwarzenegger, Mickey Rourke.
Schwarzenegger and Chevy
Schwarzenegger,
Chase.
that would've ruled.
Schwarzenegger and Chevy Chase. You
That would be
imagine that
amazing.
movie?
They'd be punching
Jeff
each other.
Bridges, John Voight, Michael Douglas, Dustin Hoffman, and Stallone.
I think you've named just about every popular.
I know,
actor.
Yeah,
exactly.
that's it. It makes me wonder the person writing that.
And here's the
like,
last two for
Who
Duke.
else was making movies in this time?
Bill Murray and Steve Martin.
Bill Murray would have fit into
Steve Martin would have worked perfectly
well.
as the
In fact, I
accountant.
always thought that the guy from Grodin. I always thought he was Steve Martin.
Yeah, when you're
Like when I was like, what, Beethoven? I was like, hey, he's from the guy from Beethoven.
that's Steve Martin. And this one goes back to a callback to Noble Gas Tribe was saying John Goodman was considered, and John Candy was considered for the role of Marvin Dorfler.
John Candy is well, I guess it kind of works.
Because that's the role he plays in that movie with
Which one's
the Planes,
Marvin?
Trains, and Motorboat.
He's the other bounty hunter that keeps catching up with De Niro throughout the film with the bald
John
head.
Goodman, that would have worked.
That would have been
Actually,
awesome.
He was like
That- John Goodman would have been
wearing
perfect.
the vest from
But could he have like
Lebowski.
moved around? Yeah, I guess he could have. That would have been awesome.
or like
He would have been able to move around. I mean, in the 80s, he would have been fine.
Yeah.
I think he'd be fine now. I actually think he's healthier now.
I only have one more category, which is popcorn redemption.
Meaning what?
This is, well,
I have exercised the demon.
this is the category that allows us to say things that we like instead of ending on a downer note of all the things we hated about a movie.
We always wind up on an upper note. What are you talking about? This is always positive.
So,
I'm going to start picking bad movies. That's what this is all sounding
That's
like to
my
me.
job.
It's like,
Don't you dare.
like make you all watch Torque, which is a great movie that is bad.
No.
what is that?
It's
Have
the,
you not
it's the
seen
Fast and
Torque?
Furious of
It's
motorcycle
amazing.
movies. It's so bad.
It's on HBO. It's
so-
on HBO Max right now.
I remember the poster for that
They were
when
like-
we were at the theater.
There's a scene with two girls on motorcycles that basically fight each other. They use their
It's
bikes
so
like
sick.
weapons.
It's
It's
so
so
sick.
dumb. It's
Oh,
amazing.
that looked so horrible.
You need to see it.
No.
It's good.
Well, actually, I can't veto that because I vetoed.
That's right. You already used your veto.
I vetoed Witch
Yeah.
a long time ago, and I'll never say no.
Yep.
Sorry, that wasn't your pick.
Yes,
It was mine.
Oh,
No, it was
mine. It was for
Noble
Halloween.
Gas Tribes.
Oh,
I thought it was a good pick, and he was like, "I'm scared."
I was terrified.
scared.
That trailer scared the crap out of me.
it's a good movie.
It is good.
So here's my popcorn redemption.
His next movie comes out in April next year.
Yeah.
In his 1989 autobiography, It Would Be So Nice If You Weren't Here, Charles Grodin mentions that Robert De Niro had prepared for his role by going on actual drug busts with teams of detectives.
The way they research for movies is
So funny.
weird. It's so
Listen
pointless.
to this. He had befriended a Los Angeles homicide detective who kept him regularly informed on the daily LA murder rate and had traveled to Chicago, his character's hometown, to work with the police there. Listen how this contrasts with Grodin. Meanwhile, Grodin's research was limited to a 10-minute phone call to his business manager, Ralph Goldman, to ask how the transfer of millions of embezzled dollars would technically be done.
Yeah, because Grodin was just all he was there to do was to ask questions of Robert De Niro.
Look at Robert De Niro. Didn't he file his teeth down for Cape Fear? That's whenever he was like into like sharp points and then got them fixed after. He's
Are you kidding me?
crazy man.
That isn't real.
That's what I thought, but I don't know. It's
But look what Christian Bale's done to his body
Yeah.
in terms of method acting.
And then you know what? For the amount of money they're making, I respect them. That is probably what they're justified. It's like, I will be insane because I shouldn't be making this much money otherwise.
I mean, yeah, I guess you well, and then you got Shia LaBeouf pulling teeth and like
Yeah, going nuts.
on Fury that
Pulling
awesome-
teeth.
Yeah, he pulled a tooth.
Really? For that movie?
He just pulled a tooth out.
Classy.
Yeah,
It's like it was
that movie was dope.
Fury. Yeah,
Fury was great.
It's pretty cool.
Any other redeeming things you want to mention about Midnight Run before we wrap this up? It's
The
so
amount of
quiet.
the amount of extra cop cars they include is mind.
You're gonna have to cut out that second of contemplation. It makes us look really dumb.
Let me think.
We're like, I like the part where the pictures moved
I
and there
love-
was sound to them.
I liked how that one feller kept stealing the other fella's
The pictures were moving and the sound to them made me think it was like real life, but not.
I often wonder about all the automobile
I was
repairs they're going to
removed
have to
from
be.
it.
I love the logo. The logo is dope. It's so
You
cool.
like the Danny Elfman soundtrack?
I'd love the soundtrack.
The music is hilarious. The music is the funniest part because
It
of how
stands
upbeat.
out.
It's
for
80s
sure.
to a T.
That is, yeah,
It does
like
stand out.
for sure. Like you would never confuse this for a movie
Like-
made now or in the 70s.
No.
I'm waiting for what's his name from Die Hard to go rolling by in his cop car in the background.
Don't you besmirch.
No. I just mean it's like it's totally the 80s
They're-
cop vibe. to
Oh,
it.
okay.
I just mean
if you're going to
I-
talk
no,
about
no,
Die
no.
Hard in a
No, I just mean like
Neat
you're half
light.
expecting to see like Mel Gibson and like Bruce Willis like drive by in the background, like Last Action Hero kind of thing, the way they all interact.
they're going to do another Die Hard, and I'm so in for it.
I am not. Did you not see the last one?
No,
Yes,
the last one
he
sucked.
did. I was there with him when he watched it.
Cole went with me to
We saw all five
yeah,
of them.
the
Yeah.
marathon. We sat for 5 Die Hard movies in a
It was
theater.
like 12
Where only,
hours.
Like 2 are actually good, and
no, 3 are good.
1, 3, and 4 are the best ones. 2 and 5 are just awful.
2 is hilariously bad. 5 was just boring.
3 is great.
3 and 4 are the best.
3 is good. 4 is
And
bizarre.
the first one is awesome.
Well, it's good.
It's the best Christmas movie. of
3
all
and
time.
4 are just crazy as heck. They just go all out. That fighter jet that he has to destroy with a
It
cop
was
car.
hilarious. It was such a different movie, though. It was anyway.
Well, this wouldn't be. Should you watch this with Brain Rap Marines and Noble Glass Tribe without us derailing something
meandering.
else?
Should you
Hey,
watch
it's
this?
movie related. We're talking about films and how they all
Yeah.
correlate together.
Any
You-
parting thoughts
Yeah,
for
so if
Midnight
you
Run?
There
want
is no
to see-
spoon.
Yeah, if you want to see the way movies used to be, where they could be longer, they weren't so fine tuned and whittled down to like maximize profit.
The golden age of celluloid.
It's a fun, warm embrace of a movie,
And it's on Netflix. So just
nostalgia. It's never really like that tense or like nerve wracking to watch. It's just kind of it's smooth.
it's
what
smooth. There you have
It
it.
goes down smooth. It's
Midnight
watchable.
Run. So smooth.
It's smooth.
Well, Cole, any parting thoughts? I always cut you off at the end.
Because he's negative and
That's
he
fine.
deserves.
Hey,
cut off.
I'm negative.
Bad vibes he brings.
Look who's talking. No, I'm good. It was. I liked it.
I liked it. Smooth.
Just goes down smooth. man. It's like
medium
medicine.
or large bucket from the Popcorn Priest.
Wait, how many stars?
A good amount of stars.
Such as it's not a billion
Not
trillion.
a billion trillion stars.
Or thousands of
but
stars. So what is it?
It's a warm embrace of stars.
Which is how many?
You know,
It's how many stars you can wrap your arms around and hug.
it's a warm embrace of stars from the 80s. It's a warm embrace of watchable stars.
And Brain Rap Brains gives it a 3 out of 4.
Which apparently I give to all films.
All
so-
films.
Just yeah.
Unless it's really bad or really
Got no
good.
taste. Everything tastes the same.
Everything's
vanilla.
the same for Cole.
Are you kidding me?
Well,
We need to start picking bad movies. I think that's
No.
the real. That's the. I'm gonna start doing it.
We can watch Macbeth again in case you missed something the first time.
no, stop.
Just confused, poorly paced nonsense. That's what's coming up.
Nope.
Hey,
I won't subject.
hey, Lamb is going to be good. I'll have you know. A
That
random,
is going to be confusing and hilarious.
a random foreign Swedish film is just what this club needs. I tell
It's
you.
a great pick. I hope you do it.
Well, with that, gentlemen, hit me up on the Twitters or the Instas if you want to interact with the great Popcorn Priest at Popcorn Priest. Drop me a line and say hi.
How often do you get hit up on Instagram?
Dude, I told you about the gentleman in the UK that talked to me.
No, I know, but do you have any more followers? It's like
I'm gaining so many followers.
Instagram seems more toned down than Facebook. I can't stand to use Facebook anymore.
No. Just join. Just join the
did.
conversation.
People trying to like sell you drugs on there.
Yes.
They try and have you gotten any of those offers to manage your social media account? I get them all the time on Instagram.
You probably have more followers than I do.
Oh,
dude.
it's all my weird family members.
Well, share the show, man.
Yeah, I try.
Well, I love movies and would love it if you'd share the love. Share this with the movie lover in your life. Another way to support the show is by throwing a few shekels at the priest. Visit
Shekel the show.
Visit patreon.com/popcorn priest and see what other extra perks you can enjoy. As always, thanks for listening.
Peace out.
And, oh, shoot.
And play the wrong sound effect, folks.
As always,
Turns out he was more on number one. And more on number two.
thanks to my guests.
2
Noble
calls.
Gas
That's our best
Tribe
ever.
And Brain Rap Marines. Always a pleasure, gentlemen. Join us next week for apparently a bad movie that we're going to review.
It's going to be a great movie. You have no idea.
Yeah.
Well,
Numi Rapace never makes a bad movie.
She's made so many.
we'll see you guys next week.
Whatever.
Thanks for joining us.